you showed me a really bad YouTube video. I thought to myself, we shouldn't talk about this, but I want to talk about it. I don't want to call the people out because, I'm not saying that we have like the best YouTube content by any means. Ours is bad.
Yeah.
So they could come back and say ours sucks, and I'd be like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well,
Sure.
Here's the thing is at least we can admit it.
Yeah. Maybe they can too. I don't know. But this guy, I don't know if so you got triggered immediately by the guy himself, like the main thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
He didn't bother me as much as just the general vibe of this video. So it was so fucking boring. It just was so boring. Like, why? At least put something in there. But like, there wasn't really much off-road stuff. There wasn't really any lifestyle stuff. There was some like setting up camp from multiple angles, which really burned you.
Yeah.
There was a famous influencer type in there who wasn't really part of the video.
Just kind of
which was
background
confusing
for the whole video and trip. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the rigs were fine. I'll give him that. Whatever. It was a boring 4Runner that is just overlandy and fine. And then the Jeep that was fine. Ranger Raptor, which was cool. A Range Rover. Was that a sport or?
It was a sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at me. I
Wow.
called it out as a sport.
Look
I'm
at you.
impressed with myself. But anyways, it was
A couple Colorados.
Colorados, which, who cares? But
Yeah.
it was just boring. Now, I will say, I'm saying it was boring, and I did not watch it all the way through.
Yeah,
I got to the first commercial break and said, nope,
Right.
I'm out.
Which was probably the first under 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was definitely under 10 minutes. Yeah.
But the reason I got you to watch it, you saw basically the whole video in that first 10 minutes. It's just different places with exactly the same thing. Like that was my hang up was it was the same 5 shots of him putting his ladder on his tent at every camp.
Yeah.
And then the same shot of him, quote unquote, pulling up to camp, getting out of his car to look at the sunset.
What timing?
And then and then in the morning, the ceremonial apparently shot from behind of him taking his morning piss, which maybe he's trying to be funny. Maybe people think it's funny, but that shot for every day of the trip.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Maybe once.
Right.
Especially with some like
somewhere to make it kind of funny. But like when it's like this set up as this artistic shot for every single camp, it's just, I don't know, man. It's
That's
one
too
of
much.
those just the same repetitive shots over and over again. And the guy must set up his camp 4 or 5 times before he's actually set up because there's angle changes and there's no camera in the background of the second angle shot and it's just, it's such a waste. I will never be that type of person filming our stuff. I cannot wrap my head around do it again for 4 different angles and then using every single one of those angles every time. I could see maybe like you do it for one camp because you're trying to show a particular thing, a particular piece of kit or a particular part of that specific camp.
Yeah.
But every single
You gotta switch it up,
camp?
man. You gotta switch it up a little bit. And so like the thing that I was saying to you that I think I think I watch a reasonable amount of off-road YouTube-y stuff or automotive YouTube, I'll just say in general. And I think the ones that I actually watch that I don't just watch one time or like part of or something they all have at least 1 or 2 of a couple things. They have to have really great videography. Like they look amazing. Story Till Now is the one that I use. Like I don't particularly like that guy's content that much, but I like his visual content a lot.
Well, I think that is, so he uses a drone for almost it's probably 90% at least of his shots.
Yep.
And so he has a really nice drone that has a really nice camera on it with, object avoidance and all of that stuff, because there's tons of shots that he just sets the drone out and has it track or has it follow or has it lead or whatever.
Yeah.
And because it's such a high quality camera and because basically all of his shots are moving, it does do that. It makes it makes
dramatic.
It makes it feel dramatic. And again, it's something I have a hard time with when I'm making videos. Like, I just don't, I don't get that, like, look at this dramatic road. Like, I don't feel that. Like, yes, it's a cool road, but it's like, it's not like it's anything somebody else could do, or hasn't done or couldn't do or whatever. Like, I mean, sure, if you've got a, Honda Civic, a clapped out Honda Civic, you're not going to drive down most of the roads we drive down.
Sure.
You might try and it'd be pretty terrible, but at the same time, it's like most of the overlandy stuff is like, I mean, most things could do this. I don't know why it's has to be
so
put
dramatic.
Out as such a dramatic thing.
I think somehow it hooks me, but that's kind of my second thing,
that's,
right?
That's the YouTube thing, though, is to dramatize it so that
absolutely.
people want to watch. Yeah.
And then I think another piece of that, like, that's a perfect transition into the other way that they get me is interesting trails or like even an interesting area. I'll take an interesting area with a boring trail here and there, but there's even like big 4-wheel drive 24/7 fan, obviously. There are episodes of that show that I kind of go, it's kind of boring. Like they didn't have, nothing happened. They didn't really go over any, they're not in whatever, the Glass House Mountains or something. Like they're just wherever and it's fine. So some more intense off-road is helpful, or really beautiful scenery. I think that's another piece. You got to have one of those. Yeah. And then the other one I think is, well, there's two more. Really good rigs. And that the video that we're criticizing had some fine rigs. Like it wasn't bad.
Nothing special, but nothing. Yeah.
It's not like, so I watched some content of the Overland Expo. Actually, I'm sure you saw it too because it was all over Ozzy's Instagram. Like they had some cool rigs out for like it must have been Baja Designs or some sort of shoot that they were doing in GFC. And like they had the Ranger Raptor with the portals from 74 Weld and stuff like that. I'm interested in that truck. Like I want to see that. So if that shows up in content, I will watch that content. So same thing, right? Or like that Taco Dust dude's Raptor. I really like that truck. It shows up, I watch it. Like that's the thing. Joe Schmo's 5th gen 4Runner, whatever. If it's the dude with the 42s and the straight axle swap, I'm going to watch that. So it's like this whole thing. And then the other thing is the personalities. And I think that was my biggest gripe. I was like, okay, you put this video together and you, who knows, this might be the nicest guy in the world. We might be best buds if we ever met. That's fine. But he just kind of was there and that's whatever. And then he has like one of these influencer types that is all over the internet in a huge personality, just there,
just in the background.
But I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just his bud and like he didn't want to be on, and I get that, that's fine, but it was very confusing to me. So like no personality. So it's like rigs aren't that great. No personality, very interesting location, although not shot in a way that you would know that it was super interesting. Yeah. And boring dirt roads. Like, what are we like? Are we making meaningful content here, or are we just making things for the sake of making things?
Well, and it was some kind of quote sponsored event that had like a bunch of vehicles. So I get like he didn't have a ton of control over that, obviously, which is fine.
You'd think that it would be better because of that, though, because they have a budget. It's not just guys hanging.
I looked at the the reason it got me to watch it was mainly the title, because it's one of our favorite areas that we go into, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll watch this and kind of see where they are, because that's anytime I see content creators that make something in our woods, I like to watch it just to see like, oh, yep, I've been there. I've been down that road. Okay, how did they do
Look at
it?
these idiots.
Yeah. What kind of problems are they going to have that we have never had in the
Yeah.
10 years we've been doing that? And so watching it, yeah, it was like I knew some of the roads. I knew a lot of the area that they went into, and then it was just like this. Some of the spots that they stopped in to stay, it was like the lamest place that you could stay in that area.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just, and they're just amazed by it, which, yes, it is.
I mean, it is amazing.
There
The
was
worst
some
spots
amazing,
are amazing.
Yeah.
I will say.
It is an amazing area.
Yeah.
But it was like, really, you didn't go over to this side or over on there or what? Like, they were this close to being in like a really great location.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it.
So what they need is the Matt's off-road recovery route, which is get a local expert, right? They should have had a local expert because, I mean,
well, some of them are from the
maybe.
area though, too.
Well,
so
yeah, I know there's definitely some.
Again, whoever put it on may not have been, or they were, and they were just trying to dumb it down as much as they could, because it was 15 rigs. Like,
that's a lot. Yeah.
As we know from experience on the Rubicon, 15 rigs on any trip that's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
But the particular spot I'm talking about, there's no lack of space as far as a camp goes.
No.
So
I think as we talk about it, the thing that gets me is I think it actually had all the things available to it that could have made it really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, like from a creative aspect looking at it, I'm just like, man, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you came up with? Okay. And maybe the client's happy and whatever. I don't know. Maybe it'll get 800,000 views and it'll be great.
14 is what it's at right now.
Yeah.
14,000.
Which is, not nothing. It's not nothing to sneeze at.
Better than any of ours.
Exactly.
But
it's fine.
I don't know. It's just,
I will say, here's something though. That means looking at that video, the bar is lower for us. I mean, obviously we want to hold ourselves to a standard.
I mean, I'd have to know how long he's been on YouTube and posting for how long to see how long it took him to get to that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying that our content is highly entertaining or, some insane high quality, but I don't know. I just didn't, the whole vibe felt off for the whole thing. And I don't know why exactly.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be a bigger person here, and I'm going to watch more of that person's content just to check it out. Maybe I gave him a bad thing. Maybe
that was a dud video.
Yeah, maybe it just sucked. We all have problems or things that pop up and bad days or whatever. Maybe he's got great content, but I don't think so.
Might be a stretch.
That led our conversation earlier into how difficult it was, though, to film on our Rubicon trip. Like, I'm sure we'll be able to throw something together, but I boldly proclaimed before we were on the trail that I was shooting no video that week. I was like, nope, shooting photos. I have photos to take for sure. Beyond that, not doing it. And I think there's actually a decent amount of stuff, but it's going to be from 14 different people.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how that's going to go for you to try to stitch some stuff together out of it. But
yeah, I don't think, so I flew the drone a couple of times. So there's at least that. Jesse did as well a little bit.
Yeah, I saw one of his.
I think I used my GoPro in particular one time.
I think, didn't Luke have one on quite a bit?
Luke had bumper cam things, kind of like Colin did, which is going to be...
Oh yeah, Colin has about 28 hours of footage.
That's going to be a sifting project to see if there's even anything usable in there.
Yeah.
A lot of cell phone videos. Well, not
which
a lot,
are probably
but
mostly vertical
cell phone videos. Jesse did a lot of talk to the camera stuff on his phone, which I was a little surprised by. So, I mean,
yeah,
perhaps
maybe it'll be Jesse's video.
Yeah, it might just be a Jesse video. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, I'm curious to see what you got, what you come up with there. It's okay.
Yeah.
It can be down the road.
Yeah,
Your few trips.
I think I still
behind.
need GoPro stuff from Aaron, because Aaron had brought his and used his a bit, and then also from Steve.
Oh, okay. So there was more cameras than I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard, again, though, it's hard to say how much Steve really did use it, because as you and I noticed, when you're driving on the Rubicon,
yeah,
there's not exactly a ton of opportunity unless you have purposefully set aside the opportunity to film things going on.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. That's where I was going, I guess, is that it just, that trail keeps coming.
Yep.
And you there's so much time that you're spending with the other drivers trying to get them through the thing you just went through that from the driving position, at least, it was so hard for me to like focus on taking photos. In fact, I had Morgan take a lot of them. Shout out to Morgan for that one. And it helps to have somebody that you trust and you know their photo style and just be like, hey, here's my camera. Go for it, please. Take as many as you can. Don't take them vertical, and just move on. That was basically my instruction to him. I still got a lot of vertical shots.
Yeah.
But,
well,
you know what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot. There was like, the trail was a lot. We knew that, and we kind of talked about that before. But it was there was like, as I think about the days, there is a lot of stuff that like we didn't do or we didn't go over or like film or whatever. So like there's an entire day where we're hanging out and there's some photos, but I don't think there's any video of any of that. There's some. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
There's some video of lake time and whatnot.
That's good.
Yeah.
This is why these shows have film crews. That's really what you need.
That would be entirely helpful. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure I would assume that they film. Actually, maybe not, because wasn't 24-Wheel Drive 24/7, wasn't it like a fairly big production early on? Like, I think it started out as a pretty big production,
it kind
like
of
a
always
TV
has
production
been.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. So that's a different world. And if you come from that, they've scaled back to the point where they have just 4 guys in a car. So
yeah. I think
2
they've
guys,
got 2
maybe.
or 3 guys in their camera car pretty regularly, but that's still 2 or 3 guys dedicated to doing that, and that's it. So it makes things easier, which makes it all the more impressive when somebody that is completely solo doing everything and can actually produce good content in that format is like, it's an impressive feat.
I was just watching our old friend Chase in Point. Right, that's his Instagram. Okay. So bad at that. Sorry. He just had this little like series of reels where Instagram stories where he's out on his own for like a few days and he busted some things and fixed them. And when he did that, he shot really good content. Pretty engaging. Like, it's a broken vehicle and one guy, so it's like, it is, it's limited, of course, but it looks good. It's, he narrates well, and I was just like, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a guy that, okay, I got this broken, trying to make content because that's what I do. Let's do it. Let's actually, make content. In my, like, if I was in that scenario, you'd see nothing. There would be no photos, nothing, because I would be trying to fix it.
Try and fix. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the singular brain.
Yeah.
When it goes to that. Yeah. Which, when you've got a group of people, that makes it a little easier, because then you end up with people that, you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
When you're working on stuff. So then you've got someone else. It's just that those someone else's need to be in the mode of, I'll take some pictures or I'll take some video, which Luke did a pretty good job of that, taking pictures. He took some really good pictures,
photos,
even in the midst of being a solo driver in a couple of those, like having the time to do that was cool and appreciated, because I'm curious if there's some more photos to come, but the ones that he's released to us.
Yeah. They're good.
They look great. Yeah.
The foresight that Luke had to bring a big zoom lens is, I don't know why I didn't think about that.
A good setup for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because he got a lot of distance stuff, and I just didn't. I did not. I did the opposite, and I just because that's what I shoot. Like I'm not doing that normally, and so I didn't really think about the fact that I would need to be able to try to take photos from 4 rigs back.
Right.
Never thought that at all, and now I know that's what I would be shooting for, but not then. In my head, somehow I thought I was gonna breeze through some things, stop. Other people were gonna go through, and as they were breezing through, I was gonna take photos.
Mm-hmm.
What really happened is every time I got through an obstacle, we needed to keep moving.
Yeah.
Because we were behind or whatever. Or somebody broke and we had to stop, or somebody's about to roll over and we had to grab onto their it's like.
Yeah, it's that trail in particular, there's not a ton of places where you can be courteous and get out of the way if you've stopped.
Yeah, so there's traffic. And
there is traffic both directions. So it's I'm the type of person I don't want to be that guy that blocks up the road just sitting when someone's coming the other way or someone wants to go around or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I know if I was going at the rate of speed that person is.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be waiting for us.
Yeah, I would be okay, come on, guys. Which I guess, you go on that trail with the knowledge of that could be what happens, that it is what it is. We're all out here doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But
I do think probably people are out there knowing that they're going to encounter people doing, that are stuck or broken or whatever. And I think most people overwhelmingly are trying to help when they're in that scenario. So, because every person that passed us for the most part would talk to us, ask us how our day was, what we're up against, anything, everything good, and they'd move on.
Yeah.
So, and that was usually the guy in the yellow truck, right? A serious wheeler that would roll up. How's it going? Good. You guys having a good day? Yep. Any issues? Nope. Okay, I'm going to roll through here. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Worst bits ahead.
Yeah. Worst bits in about 100 feet. All right, cool.
Yeah.
He was not completely wrong.
No. Yeah, that was property line was definitely one of the more difficult pieces of terrain through there, I think.
Yeah, which is crazy because I swear to God, I've never heard anything about it.
I've never heard anybody talk about it either. But yeah, that particular section absolutely was one of the harder bits. It's interesting. Some of the less known named stuff was really tough. And then also there was just some unnamed stuff that was
oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely some unnamed things that I was blown away by. And I had seen that. I've heard people say that there are plenty of unnamed obstacles that'll get you.
Yep.
But there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also a couple big name obstacles that I was okay. So Big Sluice was the one that I was very surprised by. We got through it and I was that's it.
Mm-hmm.
V-Notch, same way. Those two to me, and I wasn't super concerned about V-Notch. I was a little concerned about Big Sluice, about just the big pinch rock thing. It looks so tight.
Yeah.
Not that bad.
Nope.
Totally fine.
Yeah. We're all narrow enough to just kind of.
And I saw must have been a YouTube video before we went on the trail that somebody was had gotten through it and they were super dramatic and they were that's why you got to have a good spotter. And I was okay, and we went through it and I watched everybody go through it before me and I thought, I think the line is just right through it. I don't really think there's anything to this.
Yeah, unless you're wide, because we didn't watch Colin go through.
Well, he told me that I don't even know if he hit his sliders. I think he just drove through it, through tire to tire over it, and then rolled through and then tire to tire over the back.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. That was a weird one. And there were some other obstacles in that area that were a little gnarlier than whatever, what's that called? Is that There's a name for that pinch point rock thing. I
Oh,
don't.
that was.
It's not the hairpin. The hairpin was actually
no,
the harder
hairpin
part.
was the harder part, which, yeah, and you took a pretty weird line on that as well, which
It
like
worked.
because it worked, but just barely. If you had much more rear overhang, you would not have been saying it worked.
Yeah.
As well. Definitely want a rear bumper for the line that you took.
It worked. It's
missed.
fine. Everybody was very concerned, and I was like, I think this is totally fine. And I thank God that it was actually totally fine, because I would have felt like such an idiot if it wasn't. But all I could think about was, I feel like I've done this before. Different obstacle, different place, but it seemed right.
Yeah. That was the Big Sluice old V-Rock.
The V-Rock. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was fine. It was not.
Yeah,
I mean, it was cool. It looked neat.
Yeah, that wasn't. But that wasn't anything.
It wasn't serious.
Too serious. I felt like the next thing, Sawtooth.
Yeah.
Was weirder than that.
Yep.
And then the little, what was it called? Like the little mud hole, scout hole.
Oh, that just weird.
That was just a
pond
puddle,
thing.
But then after that, property line was.
That was not. That might have been. I think I might have been right. That might have been one of the hardest pieces. Now I will say we all made it through just fine with that one. But that was the spot where I think that I had to think of. So I want to say I had to think about it, but I didn't, because there is no other way. You're going through those deep trenches, and there's just no option. You just drive through it. You might be able to get one tire up something to kind of like settle the rig or whatever. For the most part, that whole little narrow downhill was pretty much one way until you got to the bottom, where there was two ways, and you took the strangest way possible. But
I just did what I was told.
You just drove right through it too, and it scared the hell out of me, because you had half a tire off that rock 3 different times.
Oh, I guess that I was thinking of the others. I think I was thinking of Sawtooth, where the big drop that Steve did. But I went further out and then cut into kind of come off it straight rather than turning and coming off the ledge that Steve did, which pulled a bunch of wheels off the ground. But that next weird shelf, I did it because Mike was in front of me, and I think that was it. It was Mike, and then
it was Oliver and then Mike.
Oh,
because I think Oliver went through the side that I went through, and I saw his bed and all the stuff in his bed, and I was like, "Wow, that's dramatic." And he's
really
like, "Don't go that way."
Yeah. So that's what it was. He said, "Don't go that way," and so then I just kind of went on that shelf, and that's where I got the flare.
Oh, really?
Was because there was that protruding rock on the right hand side that I was trying to skirt as close as I could, and so I had Aaron hanging out the window, watching to see how close I could get to the rock, basically. And I had basically just run just gently right up to it. And Aaron's like, "Okay, you're on the flare now." I'm like, "All right, well," so back up, move over, just, half an inch to try and squeeze past it. And but it was right on the shelf. I don't know what would have happened had one tire come off of there.
4-foot drop. I just watched you do that, and I said, "Nope, we're not going that way." And I said, I'm just going to drive down this V-notch. That's just what's got to happen. And it was fine. It wasn't that dramatic. It was more dramatic than I thought it was going to be, actually. At first, I was like, I'm going to walk right through this. And then as I dropped my front driver tire in, I went, okay, that's pretty big.
That's pretty far.
And it was fine. We made it. But that was 10 seconds of drama versus 1 minute of drama.
Yeah.
So,
mine was a little more drawn out.
Yeah. You got major body damage there. Your one nick on your flare. This is probably a good time to say, welcome to the Campfire Passport Podcast.
Longest intro ever.
40 minutes in.
30, but yeah.
30? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was waiting for you to say it, but you didn't do it. So
well, I don't want to steal it from you every time. I'm just gonna.
1 out of 5
I gotta
or so?
catch you off guard when I do it.
That's the move.
Yeah.
And then also, since it's just two of us, which we weren't sure was going to happen, but it did.
A little unexpected.
I put a vehicle in the chat.
Oh, wow.
I actually have two.
Look at you.
I have two I want to talk about.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about this one or the other one that we kind of talked about before the podcast?
Well, considering I don't exactly remember what one you're referring to.
Both new then.
Let's why don't I just do this one first? Oh, it's not hyperlinked.
I know. Why does it do that? It's this program. It's very annoying.
Copy and paste. Just give the.
Hey, do you have a
listener
elevator music on your soundboard?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, while he's looking it up, I'm going to tell.
I'm there now.
He's going to get there.
Yeah.
This
go
is
ahead.
our favorite blog, which is a word I never thought I'd say again, but I just have.
They're all outdated too, by the way. These are all.
This is old.
Yeah.
I know this is old. This is on Method Race Wheels, the blog. There's a truck that is. It actually made its rounds around the internet for a little while. It's called the Miller Lightning. That's right.
Yep.
F-150. It is actually an F-150 Lightning that a guy did. Basically tons and 40s and coilovers and kind of built it into a pseudo desert truck that can definitely do rock stuff, it looks like, as well.
I'd say so.
And it's sweet. I like this body style of Ford a lot. We've all talked about this.
OBS,
what's it, 95, right? Did I just say 95? Yeah, 95.
Yeah, it's a 95.
And that is like the classic modern, it's not modern at all anymore, but modern Ford to me. Like that is not 70s trucks, not whatever other things. Like this is where Ford turned the corner.
This is easily my favorite Ford body is the OBS trucks.
And then the other thing that's funny, I think, is these Lightnings, I think they're still not really worth anything because they really didn't have much going on. They were kind of like I don't know if they were lowered or just basically a regular 2-wheel drive half-ton height, but they had a 351 in them. Like that's pretty much it. I'm sure there was more to it. Like if I looked into it, they probably had a limited slip or something. Like there was things, but it was like a cool graphic. I very much vividly remember the ads for these trucks, especially the all black one.
Mm-hmm.
They had some play on words with it being all black and being the Lightning. I forget. It was awesome though.
I don't remember that, but
I just remember seeing these things and just being like, that's so cool. Cause they seemed so like new and modern at the time. But this truck is rad. It's white. It's got methods and 40s and cool suspension work, and it's cut out fenders, but like stock front bumper. It's got a little like tube rear bumper that's like cut up. So it's got a little bit more rear clearance. It's sweet. I think it's as perfect gets for one of those. I don't know what else I would do there. I think it's actually relatively like it's stock engine. Stock. It has its original engine. So 200 something thousand miles, it says. Yeah, over 200,000 miles on it with a Bronco. It's got a Bronco transfer case and transmission.
Yeah,
that is the extent of its drivetrain modifications.
Because they were all 2-wheel drives.
Yeah,
from what I can understand, what I'm looking at right here. So it's. What does it say? I'm trying to find the full information. So yes, it is a 351 for those that didn't already know that.
5.8
GT40 heads.
Ooh.
And a big throttle body, an aggressive camshaft, and
let me guess.
Revised exhaust.
280 horsepower.
Not even.
Damn, 260?
240.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any guesses on your foot-pound of torque?
240 horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to crack the 3? Let's see. I think 305.
340.
Dang, not bad. Torque monster.
Torque monster.
Really.
Which, good for an off-road conversion.
Good for off-road. I mean, but what it doesn't say in the specs is how badass it looks.
Yes.
It's on the scale of,
And you were correct. Limited slip differential.
Oh, see, look at that.
Plus,
not applicable in this scenario, but
plus a aluminum drive shaft.
Okay.
Also not applicable because
probably not there anymore.
Not the greatest.
I think they had like bucket seats and a console too, which was something.
Yeah, and a graphic package and
the graphics were just great.
It had like a so the bumpers were painted instead of chrome.
So were the grills.
Yeah,
the grill and like the headlight surround.
Yeah, and then it also had like a ground effects, like a little lip kit on the bumper as well.
Yeah, they're good. I'm actually going to Google a stock one, 1995, 1995 Ford Lightning. There's no E in Lightning. I mean,
Lightning.
It's not lightened.
But yeah, this thing's cool. It's got the a sort of period correct roll bar in it, just like every other 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah,
truck would, but in a little sneaky Miller High Life overflow bottle.
Yeah,
for the radiator, which is great. That's just kind of sticking with the theme. But yeah, I unfortunately I wish there were some pictures. I mean, I'm sure there's pictures of it in other places, like on social media and whatnot, of it like actually flexing or something like that. Because to me, I'm seeing radius arm front that is back to a quarter of the way into the cab. And then the rear trailing arms are all the way to the cab, a little past where the cab is. It's just a single cab, but like that's, those are fairly long arms for that thing. So yeah, it would be.
I'm sure it does great.
Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty cool.
I mean, it's not. It's fine, but I'm trying to find. Here it is at Moab.
The pictures on the Method thing look like Moab to me.
Yeah. If you're on your Instagram on your computer, which by the way, if you don't do, is the coolest thing. There's a Desolate motor. I don't know if Desolate. He's like connected to Desolate Motorsports.
It's got a Desolate Motors solid axle.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Kit. Yeah.
There's a couple photos of it on their page at Moab. It looks like, and it's getting it. It's doing good. Big crack V-notch thing. It's making it right through. Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's a rad truck, and it's simple. I like that too. It's like not overly simple. It's got coilovers and radius arms and stuff, but like it's not anything wacky.
Yeah, I mean it is, and like you said, it's like the combination of desert truck and crawler, because it's got a solid axle, which Desolate is more known for long travel TTB stuff.
Yep.
Which is super cool also, obviously. But yeah, the combination factor of it, it's kind of like it reminds me, so it's like one of my favorite OBSs I had ever seen, which was a extra cab. It was a 7.3. He had chopped the bed way down. Big long coilovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, he jumped it. He was at Hammers all the time with it. Like, I mean, he did tons of cool shit in it, and I have always loved that truck. And then he rolled it at Rubicon.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah. Went over at like Cadillac Hill or something, right? Yeah.
He was coming down, so he was going in reverse and came down, and he was trying to move out of somebody's way, and
whoops.
As we know, on Cadillac Hill, there's not a lot of space to move out of the way for somebody in a lot of the spots there, and that was all she wrote for that truck. But he kind of rebuilt another one using some of his components, it sounded like. So
nice. So I gotta I did a little research while you were talking there, and this the white truck that we're talking about, the Lightning, belongs to Nick Eisenhower, and he drives the like Heatwave visual OBS like trophy truck. I don't know if you've seen that thing.
Okay.
It's super sweet. He also is a drift guy. So really cool. I don't know if he has maybe he's just really well connected into Heatwave, but Heatwave stuff is all over his things. He's got a rad Instagram. I followed, so everybody else should follow. All 30 of you. You're welcome, Nick. I don't know. He's got some cool stuff for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, that truck is rad. Okay, so then the other thing I sent you, did you look at that on your Instagram?
Oh, you sent it on the Instagram now.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. DM straight to you.
Straight to
right,
the DMs.
I slid right in.
Okay.
And this, while you're looking it up, I saw on Expedition Portal, which we've also is our. It's like if it's not Method, it's Expedition Portal.
Well,
basically, that's where we're getting all
kinda,
our information these days.
The hub of information, you know.
It is a tease by Ineos of their thing called the Detour and some other prototypes. So the Detour is basically like the Grenadier with like a bespoke program, so you can get like all sorts of cool stuff, right? So that's cool. They're hand finished, premium materials, blah 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 blah. They just announced it at Goodwood, but the concepts are pretty sweet. One of them being a quartermaster, which is the pickup for anybody who is not up to speed on these yet, and it's got portals, and it looks awesome. So that's pretty cool. And then also they tease a V8 powered Grenadier in here, and I'm curious what V8 it has.
Yeah, if it's got a BMW 6-cylinder in it for the regular
S65 or something. That's old, so who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know.
What V8 would they use in that?
Let's do a little Google here.
I am a fan of this Dakar looking one.
That
as
one
well.
too, yeah.
This like rally spec looking one looks like that could be pretty cool.
They all swapped it.
Okay. Well,
so rumor has it, drive.com is saying that they hear that it should have a 6.2 GM V8 from the likes of the Holden Commodore, Australian site, which is why. But yeah, they actually know it is confirmed 6.2 petrol V8 from GM, lots of power. So it doesn't say which one it is. People are saying LS3, which is not right, but whatever. Or LT1. It's probably an LT1. Or it's not even an LT1. It's anyway. So I don't want to get into the weeds with that. But 6.2 is like a wow. Is the LS3 a 6.2? Yep, LS3 is 6.2. Man, look at that. Journalism doing its job. They knew what they were doing. All right. Probably an LS3 or a whatever LT variant that's 6.2, which might be an LT1. Which is perfect.
That would be cool. Yeah, I mean, we have talked about this multiple times. It's kind of a perfect combination. I just,
they'll come down in price. They'll get to the point where there's enough of them that it will be good. It's been popular already. I think it's going to stay popular for as long as we can ride this wave of off-road things being available. I think it'll keep selling, and that's the hope for everybody like us that is waiting in the wings for a ZR2 Colorado or a Rubicon or whatever. Like, one of these will pop up at half price in 2 years, and then that will be the start of like, okay, it's doable.
Yeah.
It's on. Till then, they're going to be expensive, especially when you start talking about a quartermaster or a V8 or something with portals. It's going to be impossible, but all that stuff will be doable in the aftermarket if you want. And I haven't heard anybody say they're underpowered. I think they're fine with that. It's like a B58 or whatever, that gas BMW engine. That's the same one that's like in the Supra and all that stuff. And
yeah,
they're super.
It's fine. It's not, not anything amazing, I'm sure, but just,
Well, not everything can be a GM V6, Colin.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm not really tooting my horn there outside of the similar yeared Tacomas, because I definitely have them beat, but otherwise it's just kind of it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. You also, I'm certain, got at least 10 miles to the gallon more than I did on the highway, and then we're not even going to talk about on the trail because I burned through nearly an entire tank of fuel on the Rubicon. It was insane.
I mean,
You did too?
I came fairly
Okay.
close to. I sent a. I know I sent a text to Steve after I found out what my uh what my fuel economy was uh for the entire trip. So
Okay.
highway
Overall.
highway there, highway back, plus the running around to through town and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I believe maybe I didn't send it to Steve. I don't know who I sent it to. Maybe it was Jesse. I think it was 13 is what I averaged
Total?
for the whole shebang. I was getting like 16 or 17 for my highway.
So I followed your mileage, and the first fuel stop I got 15. I was like, okay, it's fine. 15 is pretty much what I expect. The second fuel stop, I had 11. And then I said, I'm not going to calculate this anymore. Like
I can't handle these numbers anymore.
Yeah. I think it's best to stick my head in the sand.
Well, that second spot though
included premium in it.
Included towing a 2500 Duramax uphill.
That nearly broke my rig too. And I don't know, I said this, I know when we were there, but what a stupid idea to start that uphill and then drive it up the other hill in low range in traffic at 102 degrees or whatever. Like that was, I should have let it struggle in high range, I think. And I would have been able to like shift up a couple times, because basically I cracked through 3 gears and then I'm like spinning, at 3000 RPM or whatever, going 35 miles an hour, maybe, with the AC on. All this heat, it just like heat soaked immediately. Like it was done. I have to figure out something for my intake. My intake air temperature is outrageously high. Always. I cannot.
Guess you're going to have to put a snorkel on it, Sean.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I would consider it.
I know how much you love snorkels.
If it would help, because I don't know. I made the dumb mistake of not running a factory airbox, because I thought, how am I going to suck all of this air for this engine that's 2.5 times the size of the original one through this Toyota intake, box or whatever you call it, canister. It's like this big thing.
Yep.
And then, so of course, naturally, I just stick a giant cone filter in there. Who would have thought?
You and everybody else.
Didn't work out so hot.
No, it did work out.
It worked out very hot. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. It's, around town and stuff, like you don't notice it, but like when you really count, all of a sudden it's very hot. So, and it's just getting worse by doing that, I think. So if anybody if Torfab is listening and wants to send me one of their super sweet fabricated air boxes for LS swaps in 80 series, I would be happy to review that for you.
Yeah, I like that.
Otherwise, I'm probably going to weld a cone thing to my factory air box and put it back in. And if it loses 50 horsepower, at least it won't have a 200-degree air intake temperature, so it probably will balance out in the long run.
Yeah, well, you can always still tune to regain that 50.
Hopefully. But I'm going to lose my sweet air intake sound. I really like that, especially in the snow when the air intake temperature is not so bad.
You're the only one that can hear it, because anybody else, all they hear is fan. It used to be power steering, and now all you can hear is fan.
Yeah, it's a lot of fan noise.
Which, by the way, is very prominent in the Oahe video that will be releasing soon.
Just my fan?
No, power steering.
Oh, yeah, God, that was so bad. That was the end of that power steering bump for sure. It's crazy. I had all these power steering issues on the Rubicon. It just would not turn for more than 5 minutes at a time. No noise. It still sounds perfect. And then I thought maybe I had an air bubble. We did this on the trail. I put more fluid in it, and I cycled it and everything was fine. And then as soon as it got hot, it just burped every bit of that new fluid, or I'm sure a mix of all of the fluids, but it burped about the amount that I put in it out. So I think it's filled up all the way. I think Hydro Assist is the only way I'm going to get more steering. I don't really know what to do. It sucks. It's really bad. When Jesse drove it, I watched him Like, I watched him not make a corner basically because, I mean, his truck is like driving a forklift basically.
Yeah.
There's no steering feel at all. It's got a tiny little steering wheel, and you just turn it and it turns. Like you have no correlation between the turn of the steering wheel and what you're doing really, other than you can see the tires a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes like no issues. Mine, on the other hand, is constant pull on the steering wheel, which is crazy because it used to be with the factory setup, I used to be able to left foot brake, bring the RPMs up, and then it would turn just fine.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Can't do that. It will not do the same thing. If I left foot brake it and get on the throttle, we're going past the brakes every time. There's no more like wait.
Guess that power stop upgrade didn't quite upgrade it enough. Huh?
No, definitely not. I don't know if it's a like.
I mean, you didn't do calipers. The big.
I didn't do big calipers. I did stock calipers.
Yeah,
new stock calipers, and they stop great. It actually stops better than it did for sure because I deleted like that load proportioning valve thing. We talked about this, I think, and the ABS, and there was one time.
You mean to tell me you're driving around on the street without ABS?
No ABS. You know what I did? I pulled the light.
Ooh, you're so unsafe.
Keep that on the down low. We were on the freeway and there was a panic stop moment. And I was like, this is it. This is the test.
This is what's going to happen.
It was great. It did exactly what I needed to do. And I have no, I don't have warped rotors or anything from the trip. Like it's dialed. So pretty excited about that. And as far as I can tell, nothing fell off. So there was a couple brake line things. I was like, oh, hope these are fine.
Like concerned they weren't long enough, you mean? Or
no, well, I did swap those out and they were, and all I could do was cycle them on the ramp and say, seems good.
Mm-hmm.
But I have my rear where I deleted the proportioning valve. Basically, you have to put this little T in there, and most people build a bracket to hold it in place, and I didn't have time, so I just left it. I actually cut the bracket and butted it up against the frame in intent to just tack it in place, which I didn't do, but it didn't move. I will do that just so it's not going to weigh on my mind, like when we're 12 hours from home one day, just going,
yeah,
brakes feel a little weird.
Or it's packed with snow and it pushes it somewhere that you don't want it to be pushed to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to do that, but
yeah, well,
I'm still on the same tank of fuel that I got in Klamath Falls. Not washed my vehicle. I definitely took almost everything out of it, which I know you haven't washed.
The joys of working from home.
Dude, it's great. Did I tell you? I've done this a couple times on here, and I just am happy to do it because I like to really talk about the real parts of car ownership.
Yeah.
Even when you know what you're doing. And I think I'm okay at working on cars. I'm not the best, but I'm okay. I nearly burned the bug to the ground last night.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So there was
back to the Volkswagen podcast.
Yeah. So as part of our Volkswagen content, there's a local show or it's like a cars and coffee kind of thing called Euro Nights, and they're really cool. Put on by a local guy. His name is Josh. Which
not KNI. It's
Euro
night, like nighttime.
And it's at nighttime. Yeah. It's actually Euro evenings, but they've mislabeled it as nights. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so he puts on a good event. It's at Northwest Wheel and Tire. They're great guys. Like the whole scenario is awesome. And I was like, I'll take the bug out. I have a lot going on right now. I have a wedding in a week, and there's just a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
But the bug is pretty turnkey most of the time. And I cleaned it recently, so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna take it out. Last time I drove it, it was 102 degrees out or whatever, and it started to stutter a little bit. And I was like, oh, it's got a fuel filter in the engine bay, which it shouldn't have. It's a little clogged looking. I'm going to pull that out. So basically my thought was I'll yank it, go no fuel line or no fuel filter for right now, put the fuel filter where it's supposed to go behind the tank or in the wheel well, in a week or whatever. Like it's not a big deal. I'll just move. I've got a new one, but I'll put a new, I know. Just move my hands around again. I'll put a new fuel line in it to replace that. And so I did. No big deal. In the middle of this, I unplugged the distributor from the coil because it's in the same area, and I bumped it and it fell off. So I put the wire back on. And I went to start the car, and it didn't start. And I thought, that's weird. And I tried 3 times. Do 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 do. Maybe 4 times before I thought I should check. I should just make sure that everything's fine. And as soon as I got out of the car, I realized that everything behind the car was a wall of white smoke. So I go to the engine bay, on the back of the car, obviously, just filled with smoke. I start waving my arms around, trying to like clear it. I could tell it was probably not actively on fire because it just, it was just white smoke.
Didn't have the vibe.
Didn't have the vibe of being on fire yet. But I did look around like quickly, like where's the starter? Where's the wiring that goes to the starter? Okay, that's fine. Voltage regulator, that's fine. Roll around to the back of the motor, and I went, oh, the wire from the coil to the distributor was just copper wire. There's a little bit of black stuff on there too, but mostly just copper wire.
Just paint.
Yeah, so I put it on the wrong terminal, and I direct shorted my distributor, so my condenser, my points to the distributor.
Yeah.
So I ordered a new one of those, but I thought I might fix it. I was looking at it, I was like, oh, I'm going to fix it. And then I just started looking at the points, and I was like, I'm not fixing this.
Yeah.
This is a replace scenario.
Points are like $10. Yeah.
Yeah. Inflation. With inflation, they're $12.
12.
I think the condenser was 18 or 28 or something. So like I'm in it less than $40 for the 2 parts.
Yeah.
And you know what? Since we're on the Volkswagen podcast,
yep.
I have a favorite cheap Volkswagen parts distributor, which I use.
Okay.
And I also will try every once in a while, like buy something from Amazon, just because you can just search by part number and find the right part. The place that I always order from only does flat rate shipping and has no like option, or there's no conversation about getting anything quicker. It's just one shipping option.
Yep.
And I've had things show up in 2 days, and I've had things show up in 7 days. So I need it next weekend. It has to be there for the wedding. So it's like, okay, well, I'll try Amazon. I can find the points for a 009 distributor, but not the condenser.
Okay.
Like, okay. Of all the places to be able to find it right away and easy, NAPA. NAPA has a ship-to-home program. Anything over $35 is free. They must ship out of Portland because it's 1-day shipping.
Yep, that's most likely where the nearest quote-unquote hub is. It's where it is for O'Reilly and as well. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I've had good luck with O'Reilly lately. This is inside baseball that no one cares about, but if you're local to us, which you might be, O'Reilly has a big store in Bend now. So most things you can get same day in Bend right now. Like it seems really easy to get, but these parts, I couldn't even look them up on O'Reilly or AutoZone. Neither one. Not available. Not a thing. And I don't know what to look for. I guess like a 69 bug. I don't know, 69 to 70, whatever. Because
their year range doesn't go that deep?
No, because I didn't think I can't look up the year that it is. And I didn't think about until after what I actually could have looked up. So I might have been able to look it up through their parts search, but I wanted to put the Bosch part number in and get the Bosch part. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
It was not easy like that. But NAPA, it was.
Okay.
NAPA Know How.